After you've deep dived into the exit poll numbers, are they liars, outliers, or do you feel that the results will vary from when counting
I'm confused as hell, and I mean, if I can use that word on camera, on live TV. And I would also like to say that for many years, I really don't go by exit polls as much as I go by just traditional journalists who've made the rounds, done the campaign trail. Somehow they kind of find a distillation of the common wisdom of the electorate and comes back. So,
are you a limousine journalist? Because
no,
that won't work.
I drive a Swift.
So you got your
limo liberal. You missed the second part.
Limo liberal. I didn't want to go so
I'm a liberal, but I drive a Swift.
I didn't want to call her out on her politics, but certainly
no,
a
I'm a
limousine
liberal,
I can.
but I drive a Swift.
Not the
I can put it down to
kind,
that.
yeah.
But I do depend on colleagues who have travelled and do convey. So I still find it a very difficult thing to say that BJP may not win Rajasthan or that it may win Madhya Pradesh.
No, but you went to Madhya Pradesh, right?
I did go to Madhya Pradesh.
What did you sense?
And what I went within 2-month intervals of this thing. And the first time that I went was just after Ladli Behna had been launched, and I had interviewed the Chief Minister at that time. And at that time, the entire party apparatus was quite down in the dumps. The party workers and cadres were unenthused, and there was a very strong feeling that, okay, time to pack up and let's leave.
Okay.
The party leadership in Delhi basically told me that we have only this Ladli Behna platform for us, plus the fear that if the Congress comes to power, what will happen to our Vyavastha?
Yeah.
Whoever comes to power within the party, any leader from BJP is fine, because whatever it is, the system is ours. But if somebody from the Congress comes and Congress comes back to power, then the party workers will have to think again what will happen to them. So I found that the second time that I went, the enthusiasm levels were a little up. I think there was a little fear that if after 18 years party is out of power, what will happen? Will there be some sort of a political vindictiveness? Kaam kaun karwayega hamare? All of those things were there. So at least the cadre was hitting the ground. And I think most exit polls are predicating this Madhya Pradesh thing swing towards the BJP because the women's vote has gone up.
Yeah, we'll come to that women vote factor in just a bit. Quickly, just bringing up, it's about numbers. Result Day Live, it's about numbers. So we've got to show off again. Alexa is back at work, and this is an award-winning graphics team that's working in the back end, ladies and gentlemen. So kudos to them. Every time they've put up something, they've walked away with the accolades. Even now, they've got some fresh accolades in their kitty. So congratulations to them in advance. Now let's look at the poll of polls or the multi-poll of polls. What does it say? Largely, the indication here is that the BJP should take it, and if you were to look at the outliers and also some of the others, even if you look at Matriz, if you look at Polstrat or even Jan Ki Baat, everybody, in fact there are three, if there are three pollsters who are giving 150 plus, then you can't call them outliers. That means that there is a clear difference and it's not a close election like it was back in 2018. That's what it looks like, 116 to win, and it looks like the BJP will perhaps many of them internally believe they will do their best ever. 2003, they will beat that 2003 number of around 140, that at that time 140 or 142, if my memory serves me right. They believe that they will do better than that. That's what they believe. Zaka, Abhijit, and of course Nalin Mehta, money control mein hai nahi, wo baad mein puchenge, vote control mein hai ki nahi BJP ke?
So I think I kind of agree with Nistula and Rahul both. See, the important thing in this election is I think the stakes are much higher for the Congress than for the BJP. Simply because historically, if you see these elections, and I think the bigger picture here is it's like people call it a semi-final before the Lok Sabha election in 2024 and so on. The bigger picture here is that historically, these election results have not had that much of an impact on the Lok Sabha election. In 2013, for example, BJP lost all these states and it swept 3 of them in Lok Sabha in 2024, right? So in that sense, I don't think we should see too much for 2024. But why it's important for Congress is that if they win 3 or 4 or all 4 or 3 or even 2, and importantly Telangana, then they're going to have their tails up, then they're going to have momentum. At a time when Rahul Gandhi has had some kind of a resurrection, they've just won Karnataka, so it'll enthuse the opposition a great deal and make them believe that they can give the BJP BJP's real run for the money in 2024. On the other hand, for the BJP, I think what's really at stake is not so much the victory, but the cadre coming together, and as some kind of a dress rehearsal, if you like. For example, if you can. The exit polls are showing a victory for the BJP in Madhya Pradesh against the grain. Now, 3 months ago, everybody was saying the BJP is out of the game, right? It was going to be a Congress victory 3 or 4 months back.
Barely 70 seats.
They said now 70-80 seats bhi BJP ko nahi milne wali. That's what they were saying 3.5 months ago.
Irrespective of who wins, if it's a close election in Madhya Pradesh, then what you are saying is that despite 20 years of anti-incumbency, the party machinery is so strong on the ground that you've still given a strong fight after 20 years of incumbency in a state election. Imagine what that will do in the Lok Sabha election.
So let's dwell on the Modi and the Mahila factor with Zaka on the wall. And Zaka, if you can juxtapose the unprecedented Mahila voter turnout with the close fight that Madhya Pradesh has been, the 2018 numbers, vote share differences, etc.
So let's talk about the Mahila factor. We've talked about this earlier in earlier programs as well. There are almost 18.5 lakh women voters, new women voters as compared to the 2018 poll, who have come out, who have turned out and voted this time around. Whether they have voted for Ladli Behna favouring the BJP or whether they have voted for the Congress guarantees, we don't know. But the number of women voters is substantially higher. This is almost 2% of the entire voter turnout in this election. 2.41 crore, the entire number of women who turned up, as opposed to, that was in 2018. This time around, there's been 2.72 crores.
So can I almost add one point of context to this?
Yeah.
In the last election, 6% more female voters voted for the BJP over and above male voters. So the male voter tally was 44%.
Yeah.
Female voter tally for BJP was 50%. So they got 1 out of 2 women to vote for them. The Congress had 40%, 10% less.
Yeah.
Female votes.
Again, in this, whatever, 18 lakh plus new women voters who've been added in the 2023 election, like I said, if a bulk of these women are voting for the BJP, that means the BJP already has a 2% sort of starting gap with the Congress. That 2% extra is going to the BJP if they are voting for Ladli Behna.
So that's 10%. Zaka, if you look at the last election, it's a 10% gap that the Congress will have to make up.
So you're basically saying 12% there. 10% plus 2.
That is if these 2% have voted.
Of course, entirely for the BJP.
Let's take it as 1% because 1 in 2. So let's assume that.
Anyway, so that's the women factor.
No, but in 2018, what was the vote share gap between the two? If this 2%, how critical does that become?
No, in fact, in 2018, the BJP had a greater vote share than the Congress. In fact, the BJP had something like 0.13%, more than the Congress. But the Congress had more number of seats. It had 114. BJP had 109, despite the fact that the BJP had 0.13% more. That is because there were a large number of tight fights. And I'm just going to show you that because you asked me that, Anand. The number of tight fights that we saw in 2018, more than 30 constituencies in 2018, that's more than 10%. The Congress again had a lower vote share, the BJP had a higher vote share, but the Congress got more of those tight fights. Now this is less than 3,000 votes. 30 constituencies, Congress won 15 of them and the BJP won 14. Now why these are important is because these are spread across the state. There are a few here in the Gwalior-Chambal region, there are a few here in the Malwa region, there are a few here in Vindhyachal. So the problem is that, it's not concentrated in one region or two. And Madhya Pradesh, remember, is 6 different regions and they could vote very, very differently. For example, Gwalior-Chambal went predominantly with the Congress last time around, 26 out of 31. The Mahakaushal region, again, went largely with the Congress last time around. Where the BJP managed to sort of save itself was in the central part of the state and, of course, in the extreme eastern part of the state. That's where the BJP saved itself. But I think for me, and this is why the exit pollsters, I am a little more skeptical about the exit pollsters when it comes to Madhya Pradesh because of these tight fights. If the BJP wins an overwhelming number of this 30, let's say they're winning 25 out of 30 or 20 out of 30, then this is a wave election. Then the exit pollsters numbers are
just
true.
A quick